My name is Mrs. Toppy. I'm the media specialist, and one unpleasant duty I have is to inform students that they have textbook fines or library fines. Now, nobody likes to get a fine, but there are certain things you can do to avoid that. One of the things you can do to avoid a textbook fine is to cover your book. Now, this might look pretty. It's a nice stretchy polyester cover, but sometimes if you're holding this book, it will slip out of your hands, and that's a good way for the binding to break, which is right here. Now, this is an old textbook that we no longer use, so I'm not really damaging it when I do these examples. Just want you to know that. There is a better way to take care of your books. In fact, if you use these stretchy covers, sometimes if you use dark colors, the dye will actually bleed from the cover onto the cover of your book, and it will be all stained. So you are better off to use something simple like a paper bag. So I'm going to show you how to cover your book with a paper bag so that you can avoid some textbook fines. Now, when you have these paper bags that have the handles, you can try to peel them off. Sometimes they peel off pretty well, other times they may be a little bit tough. You may want to cut them off, otherwise that one actually peeled off very well, so I will try peeling these off. You want to be careful that you don't just rip a hole in the bag. Get rid of those handles, you don't need those. Now that you have the handles taken off, we need to cut this bag, and I think it's easiest to cut it right near one of the creases. Cut it down to the corner, and then you really need to get rid of the bottom since you're not going to use the bottom at all. So I'm going to cut around here, all the way around the bottom. I'm going to keep cutting until I end up with a long piece of paper bag. So that's what you want. Now, if you want to advertise for your favorite store like Cub or for Coburn's, that's up to you. You could leave that on the outside. I'm going to do it. I'm going to cover my book so that the plain side is outside. That way, if I choose to doodle, I can do that. If I want to put stickers on it, if I want to whatever, make sure my name is on there, you can do that as well. So let's take a textbook. Let's just pretend we're going to cover this history book. Now, if you lay it down on here, you're going to see what the height of the book is. So I'm going to hold this edge down. Actually, that was backwards if I want. If I want the advertising on the inside, I'm going to fold it this way. And do your best to fold it in a straight line. I think you can all handle that. Alright, that's not too bad. Now, if I put that up there so I can measure and see where the other fold needs to be, I can put a crease in the paper bag down here. So this crease needs to be about there. And if it doesn't exactly fit the first time, you can always make adjustments. Okay, so I'll do some double checking. See how my measuring was. That looks pretty good. So when I cover it, I think I'm pretty good there. Now, I'm going to give myself probably 4 inches or so on this end. And I'm going to fold it, make a crease here, And that is going to go, the back edge of my book is just going to slide in there, in those creases that I made. And it's going to go on the book about 4 inches. That's usually pretty good. Now, when I bring this over, I'm going to need another 4 inches to tuck under on this side. So I will trim my paper bag. To right about there. Again, I'll give myself a crease, and I can fold that open, crease it, and it goes on my book like this. And it's not going to slide all the way on because my book is open. But when my book is closed, so when I start to close it, I can pull that on and lay it down. And this is what my book cover looks like. Doesn't look too bad. The next thing you should do is you should tape that on there so that it doesn't come off on you. Now I suggest, what's important is you don't tape to the inside of the book. You tape the paper bag to the paper bag. So you're never going to be peeling off any part of the binding. So tape here, tape it on the inside. You're going to want to do the back cover as well. I can tuck this in a little bit and make it look pretty nice. And there you have it. That is your grocery bag book cover. Very durable. I don't think you'll have any problems with that in here and there. So you can see how it would protect your book. You can always write on here so you know what book it is. The thing to be careful of, if you use a Sharpie, I don't think it will go through, but I think you should be good there. There are a couple other things you should know about your textbooks. First of all, textbooks are expensive. These run anywhere from $50 to about $110. So we need to make these last for 7 years before we get new ones. So it's very important that you do take care of them. That's why we have to charge textbook fines if you misuse them or mistreat them. Now, some of the things that are important are when you put it in your locker, don't just throw it down in the bottom. On the bottom of your locker, there's usually a little metal clip where the bottom latches in, and that's where a lot of people end up gouging out the side of their book. So you need to bend over, place it in your locker, and you'll be fine there. If you just throw it in your locker, you might get something like this. You might actually get some book damage like this. I don't think you want to pay for that. That's actually pretty expensive. And I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but certainly was mistreated. This was a brand new book last year, so this student did end up having to pay for that. Now, some of the other things are, if your book gets a little nick in it, bring it to me right away. I can put some corner covers on them, or I can tape it up right away before it gets any worse. If I would have taken care of this one, or if the student would have told me about this when it first happened, maybe we could have avoided the large fine that the student incurred. So keep that in mind. If something happens to your book, bring it to me and we can fix it at that time so it doesn't get any worse. Now, you also are not supposed to have beverages in your locker. And one reason for that is because of something like this. If you take a look at the bottom of this book, and you can see that it was actually coffee spilled on this book. Somebody had coffee in the upper shelf of their locker, they slammed their locker shut, coffee spills down, covers all of their textbooks. That could cost you $300–400 for a pretty expensive cup of coffee. So you want to make sure don't have beverages in your locker. It can't do you any good. It can only cause problems. Like I said, this is a very expensive cup of coffee that the student had. So make sure you don't do that. And if you have any questions or anything right away, make sure you come and see me in the Media Center and we'll take care of it. It is important that you put your name on the inside of the book. Your name will go here with the condition that you received it in. If the book has been previously damaged, you will see a written description of the damage right over there. You'll see that in there. So that we keep in our in the textbook tracker, so that damage is always recorded, so you're not going to be charged for somebody else's damage as long as you take care of your book. So it's very important to take care of your books, and if you have any problems with them, please let me know right away so we can take care of something before it gets worse anyway. So have a good year and we can avoid those textbook fines.